Breathe in gently and let the world around you soften. Tonight, we'll drift into the quiet rhythm of the sky, where clouds form, winds wander, and rain becomes the voice of the earth. Weather is not only a pattern we watch, but a language the planet speaks, a slow, ancient song of balance and renewal. Every breeze, every drop of rain, every shimmer of light across the horizon carries a story, one of movement, of memory, of harmony between air and water. So settle your thoughts like leaves upon still water. Let the hum of the world fade to silence and the air grow calm around you. Together, we'll explore how storms awaken and skies find peace again. How the same forces that shape oceans and mountains also cradle the breath you take. Drift with me through the atmosphere's softest secrets and let wonder guide your dreams tonight. If this brought you comfort, whisper it back. In the comments, just a word, a city, a place you call home. Breathe in, slowly, and as the air fills your lungs, imagine that breath stretching far beyond your body, beyond the walls of your room, beyond the trees and rooftops, outside all the way into the soft blue curve of Earth's atmosphere. What you're breathing now is the same air that once drifted across oceans, climbed mountain peaks, and circled the world in long, patient loops. Every breath you take carries the memory of the planet itself, the sigh of forests, the whisper of waves, the warmth of a sunlit field. The atmosphere is not emptiness. It is a vast, living ocean of air, invisible yet full of motion and quiet power. It stretches upward for nearly 60 miles, thinning gently into space. Down here, close to the ground, it presses upon us with weight about 15 pounds on every square inch of skin. You don't feel it because it presses from all sides at once, holding you in perfect balance. Our planet's air is ancient. The molecules swirling through this room, nitrogen, oxygen, traces of argon and carbon dioxide, were forged in the hearts of long-dead stars. They have traveled endlessly since, through the breath of animals, the sigh of volcanoes, the bubbles of ancient seas. Every breath you take is a reunion with the cosmos, an exchange older than life itself. The air moves ceaselessly, driven by sunlight and rotation. Warm air rises, cool air sinks, creating an endless circulation that we call weather. This motion forms patterns, swirls, waves, invisible rivers that curve across continents. To the naked eye, it seems like randomness. To the patient observer, it is rhythm, the slow heartbeat of the earth. Sometimes on quiet evenings, you can feel it, the air shifting around you as though the planet itself exhales. Leaves stir, distant clouds drift, and you sense that everything from the ocean tides to the pulse in your wrist is breathing together. In the tropics, where sunlight falls straight and strong air warms and expands, rising high into the upper atmosphere. At the poles, it cools and descends. Between these zones, giant cells of circulation turn endlessly, carrying energy, moisture, and the seeds of storms. The planet's rotation bends these winds, weaving them into elegant spirals, trade winds, jet streams, and the endless dance of fronts that shape our weather. Even at rest, the air is alive. Every molecule vibrates, collides, and shifts in a delicate ballet of motion, too fast to see and too soft to hear. If we could slow time, we'd watch the atmosphere shimmer like water, each current twining into another, every gust born from the warmth of the Sunday. The sun, that quiet sculptor of air, warms the ground unevenly. Dark forests absorb more heat than pale deserts. Mountains cast long shadows. Oceans breathe heat into the sky at night. These tiny differences create gradients of pressure. Air moves to fill them, and the invisible begins to move. From that motion, every breeze, every gust, every whisper of wind is born. You have felt it standing beneath a tree, watching its leaves flutter like 1,000 small hands. The wind touches your face and moves on, carrying pollen dust and life itself. Seeds ride it for miles before resting in the soil. Birds trust it to carry them across oceans. Even the smallest creatures, a drifting spider or a grain of sand, become passengers on this vast unseen highway. And yet, for all its power, the air can be astonishingly gentle. On still mornings when the world is quiet, you can sense its weight resting softly against your skin. In that stillness lies balanced the silent equilibrium of countless forces, working together: gravity, heat, and the spinning of the planet itself. Long ago, poets imagined the wind as spirit, the breath of gods, the voice of earth. They were not far from the truth. The same physical laws that move a hurricane also stir the faintest breeze at dusk. The air is a single, continuous body, restless yet unified, fragile yet enduring. Above the clouds, where the sky darkens to indigo, air becomes thin, almost transparent. At the edge of space, it fades entirely, blending into the cosmic sea. Yet even there, traces remain: the faint sigh of the exosphere, where atoms drift free, touched by the solar wind. It is humbling to think that our world, with all its life and weather, clings within this delicate film of gas, only a few dozen miles deep, a breath held against the vastness of the void. Every living thing depends on this balance. Plants inhale the air's carbon and exhale oxygen. Animals do the reverse. Through each exchange, the planet breathes in harmony. The air inside you at this moment may once have flowed through a pine forest, passed through the gills of a whale, or risen from a volcano's plume. It is a story without end, a cycle of giving and taking that binds all living things. Sometimes we forget that air is matter. It seems weightless, yet it carries sound, scent, and warmth. When a storm approaches, you can feel its change. The heaviness, the pressure shift, the faint metallic taste of ozone. The air anticipates what is coming before we do, and when it rains, the air changes again. The scent of petrichor rises, carried by molecules released from soil and stone. It is the smell of renewal, the earth's quiet exhalation after holding its breath through dryness. The air remembers everything. It remembers the heat of deserts and the chill of glaciers. It remembers lightning dust and the faint perfume of forests in bloom. In its currents, it carries the stories of oceans and mountains, the whisper of migrations and the echo of thunder fading over distant plains. If you could see it all at once, if your eyes could trace every swirling thread, the atmosphere would look like a slow, glowing river, wrapping the earth, coiling and unfolding endlessly alive. It would look perhaps like breath made visible. And so, as you breathe now, you are part of that same motion. Each inhale joins the rhythm that moves clouds across the sky, shapes storms, and softens the edges of continents. Every exhale releases warmth into the air, a tiny human echo of the planet's own breath. In that connection lies peace. The same forces that carve canyons and form hurricanes are balanced by the ones that make morning mist and drifting fog. The world is not chaotic but rhythmic, not violent but dynamic, a harmony of contrasts perfectly tuned. Let your breathing slow in time with that rhythm. Imagine the air above you, stretching upward through clouds and winds and the vast blue dome of sky. It is the same air that nourishes the oceans, that wraps around every leaf and mountain, that carries songs and scents and the faint shimmer of starlight. You are part of that breath, inseparable from it. The air is your oldest home. And within this quiet ocean of sky, the first stories of weather begin, where invisible air becomes visible, where breath turns to cloud, and the sky begins to dream. Above the fields, the sky begins to gather itself thin veils of vapor first, then drifting shapes that thicken and swell. What looks weightless, almost ethereal, is in truth astonishingly heavy. A single fair-weather cumulus cloud, the kind that floats gently on a summer afternoon, can hold more than 1 million pounds of water suspended in the air. And yet it floats. The reason lies in balance, in the delicate interplay between rising warm air and falling droplets, a tug of war between gravity and motion. As sunlight warms the ground, the air near the surface expands and rises, carrying invisible vapor upward. Higher and cooler, that vapor condenses into droplets and ice crystals, forming the glowing bodies we call clouds. The result is a structure both solid and fluid, massive, yet soft, a visible thought in the mind of the atmosphere. To watch a cloud is to see physics made poetry. Every tendril curls and folds, according to laws of heat pressure and turbulence. But to the human eye, it feels alive, breathing, drifting, reshaping itself, moment by moment. The same forces that lift these clouds also power storms, carve winds, and create the great circulations that keep our planet in motion. From the ground, the bottom of a cloud seems close enough to touch. In reality, it can hang anywhere from a few hundred feet to several miles above your head, depending on the type. Cumulus clouds drift low, while cirrus clouds stretch thin and high near the edge of the troposphere. Each kind of cloud tells a story about the air that created it, its temperature, its motion, its mood. The gentle cumulus speaks of rising warmth. The grey stratus tells of calm, steady rain. The cirrus fine as silk whispers of change far above. But some clouds are not so quiet. Within their towering forms, invisible battles of energy unfold. When warm, moist air rises quickly into cold layers above, water droplets freeze and collide, building electric charge. The cloud becomes a living battery, storing vast potential between its top and base. Eventually, that charge seeks balance, and lightning is born. A bolt of lightning can heat the air around it to nearly 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the Sunday. For an instant, the sky becomes white fire, turning night into day. The sudden expansion of that superheated air creates a shockwave that travels outward as thunder, a rolling voice that speaks the language of power and distance. Listen closely after a storm, and you'll notice how thunder behaves. Nearby strikes crack sharply, while those far away stretch into deep rumbles, echoing through the clouds like distant surf. Each sound carries information: the shape of the terrain, the density of the air, the height of the storm. The sky becomes a giant resonating chamber, air turned into music by energy and motion. Lightning, for all its violence, is also a giver of life. When its current surges through the air, it splits nitrogen molecules, allowing them to bond with oxygen. The result, nitrates, are carried down in rain and feed the soil below. Without lightning, the planet's nitrogen cycle would falter. The air's abundance would remain locked and unreachable. Every flash in the clouds is part of Earth's chemistry lesson, a luminous act of renewal. There are other forms of lightning too rarer, stranger cousins that dwell above the storm. Red sprites, blue jets, and elves. Brief, ethereal flashes that dance in the upper atmosphere, connecting thunderstorms to the edge of space. For decades, they were only myths glimpsed, but unexplained. Now we know they are real electrical expressions of a sky that reaches higher than we ever imagined. If you could stand above a thunderhead, perhaps from the view of a satellite or a high-altitude plane, you'd see these clouds as mountains of vapor, their tops flattened like anvils by the upper winds. The sun glows upon them, lighting their edges gold and white, while their bases brood in grey shadow. Each one towers higher than Mount Everest, alive with hidden flashes carrying within it the sound, light, and rhythm of the planet's breath. Between these giants and the gentle clouds of fair weather lies a whole spectrum of forms. Lenticular clouds, shaped like silver discs, rolling shelf clouds that precede summer storms, wispy mare's tails that streak the high blue dome. Each is a different way that air expresses itself, a signature of motion and temperature and time. When you look up, you are reading the sky's handwriting. It is written in vapor instead of ink, but its message is the same: change, balance, renewal. Clouds also remind us that the air is never still. Even when the ground feels calm, winds at higher levels race across continents, sculpting and reshaping these floating forms. What seems permanent is always passing. What seems separate is part of a greater flow. And yet, even in their transience, clouds hold memory. The water they carry has risen from oceans, rivers, and leaves, evaporated under the sun's warmth, purified by ascent, and returned as rain. Each droplet may travel the world before falling again, linking sea to sky, mountain to plain. The cloud is the moment when water remembers how to fly. If you lie beneath one on a still day, you can almost feel that weight, not as pressure, but as presence. The air above you, miles deep, pressing gently, yet constantly, holding these suspended seas in place. It is one of nature's quiet miracles that such enormous masses can drift in such fragile balance. There's a comfort in that thought, that something as heavy as a mountain of water can float simply by moving with the air around it. It's a lesson written across the sky, balance through motion, stillness through rhythm. As day softens toward evening, the clouds begin to change again. Their colors shift, first white to gold, then rose, then a deepening gray. The sun's rays, passing through more air at a shallower angle, scatter blue light away, letting the warmer hues remain. The sky becomes a painting of transition, each shade fading into another, until at last the clouds dissolve into the quiet dark. And when they vanish, the air seems empty, but it never is. Invisible moisture, still present, waits for the next breath of warmth, the next lift of wind, the next chance to rise and form again. The cycle continues, endlessly patient, a testament to the atmosphere's memory. Perhaps that's why watching clouds feels so peaceful. They remind us of impermanence, but also of return, of movement that leads back to stillness, of the unseen balance that holds everything in place. So the next time you look up and see a cloud drifting above, remember, you are watching water in flight, energy in motion, and sunlight caught in vapor. You are watching the planet dream aloud, a soft white thought drifting through the mind of the sky. And somewhere high within that dream, lightning sleeps, waiting for the next surge, the next flash, the next voice of thunder to roll across the world. But for now, all is calm again. The sky exhales its glow, and in that exhale, the first cool drops of rain begin to fall, carrying the memory of the clouds back down to earth. It begins softly, a single drop, then another. A whisper against leaves a ripple on still water. Then the rhythm builds a quiet percussion as the sky releases what it has gathered. Rain, the voice of the earth returning to itself. Each drop begins as a speck, a particle of dust, salt, or pollen drifting in the air. Around it, vapor clings molecule by molecule until a droplet forms. When the droplet grows heavy enough, it falls, pulled by gravity through miles of air, weaving past other droplets on its descent. But what seems so simple is anything but. Raindrops are not shaped like teardrops as drawings might suggest. They begin spherical, but as they fall, air pressure flattens them slightly, giving them the shape of a tiny hamburger bun. If they grow too large, the air beneath them pushes unevenly, splitting them apart into smaller drops again. From sky to soil, the journey of rain is a lesson in balance. The push and pull between gravity and resistance, between form and flow. The smell that often comes before rain, that earthy electric perfume, has its own story. Scientists call it petrichor, a blend of scents from oils released by plants during dry spells, and a compound called geosmin made by soil bacteria. When the first raindrops hit the ground, they trap air bubbles that burst upward, releasing those aromas into the air. Ozone, stirred by distant lightning, adds a faint sharpness, like the memory of a storm too far to see. The scent of rain is not just chemistry, it's nostalgia for the planet's renewal. It tells your mind that the world is cooling, calming, and cleansing itself. Listen closely, and you'll hear that no two rains sound alike. A drizzle plays a soft, unbroken hum. A downpour strikes with 1,000 tiny drums. Rain on leaves sounds different from rain on roofs. Rain on the ocean, different from rain on sand. Each sound reveals something about the landscape it touches. To some cultures, the rhythm of rain is a language. In deserts, it is a promise. In forests, it is a hymn. And to the oceans, it is homecoming. When rain falls upon the sea, it doesn't vanish. It becomes part of a larger motion, evaporating again, joining the wind, beginning the endless cycle anew. Every raindrop is both a return and a departure. A traveler moving through the veins of the planet. Most of the rain we feel begins its journey in the oceans. Under the warmth of the sun, billions of gallons evaporate daily, rising unseen into the sky. That vapor cools, condenses, and travels across continents before falling once more over mountains, rivers, and plains. The same droplet may have fallen as snow centuries ago, melted, flowed through rivers, and risen again to the clouds. The water within you, within every tree, every living thing, has cycled through this pattern for billions of years. To rain is to remember. When raindrops strike soil, they awaken it. Dust settles, seeds swell, and dormant roots stir. In the desert, where months may pass without a drop, rain can trigger life in hours. Flowers bursting open, insects emerging, birds gathering in sudden abundance. Even the driest place on earth, the Atacama Desert, blooms after rare rain, as though the earth itself has taken a breath. Rain connects what lies above with what lies below. It bridges sky and soil, atmosphere and ocean. Each droplet carries with it trace minerals, nutrients, and tiny organisms, the materials that sustain ecosystems. It shapes landscapes over time, carving rivers and canyons, polishing stones and nurturing valleys. The gentle rainfall that now kisses your window is the same force that once sculpted the Grand Canyon. Only the tempo differs. There is a kind of music in the fall of rain. It follows patterns of rhythm and pours acceleration and calm. In each pattern lies a kind of communication, not for the ear, but for the body. Studies have shown that steady rainfall slows the heartbeat and quiets the brain. We evolved listening to its cadence. To us, rain is safety. It signals that the air is cool, the fire is out, and the world is still turning. Sometimes, after a long storm, when the air clears, sunlight breaks through the clouds and touches the falling drops, at just the right angle, about 42 degrees. The light bends and scatters, separating into a spectrum. And there, for a brief moment, the rain becomes color. But that moment, that rainbow, belongs to another story still to come. For now the rain continues unhurried. It darkens the soil, fills the air with freshness, and trickles down into rivers that remember every storm. In the calm after fog may rise from the ground, the earth exhaling what the sky has given. When rain falls on warm pavement, it hisses softly, a whisper of contrast between heat and cool. When it falls on cold stone, it lingers, beading and gliding, searching for a path downward. Every surface, every shape, every temperature gives it a different voice. And yet all those voices merge into one, a single sound that fills the world with rhythm and peace. It's no wonder that humans sleep so easily to the sound of rain. Our bodies recognize it. Somewhere deep inside our breath matches its pace. Our heart beats in time with its fall. When you step into the rain, you become part of it, an extension of the same cycle, the same chemistry, the same quiet miracle of motion. Each drop that touches your skin carries stories from distant oceans, from clouds that formed over mountains you'll never see. In that instant, you and the planet are one continuous system, breathing, cooling, cleansing together. And when the rain ends, when the sky clears and sunlight returns, the air feels washed, lighter, renewed. The world shines, as though it has remembered how to begin again. Even the air tastes different, richer, smoother, filled with ions and moisture. It's as if every surface from leaf to stone exhales in gratitude. In ancient times, rain was seen as divine, a blessing from the heavens, a message of renewal. Farmers still watch the sky for it. Poets still write to it, and travelers still pause to feel it. Rain is the meeting place of science and spirit, a natural phenomenon that feels like prayer. So the next time you smell that first hint of petrichor or hear rain drumming against glass, let it remind you the planet is alive and you are part of its breathing. Each raindrop is an echo of that breath, a note in the symphony of renewal that has played since the beginning of time. Let the rhythm guide you now. Let it slow your thoughts. And as the rain fades, imagine the world washed clean, glistening under a pale new light. The air is cooler now. The ground drinks in silence. The sky, relieved, opens to stillness once again. The rain quiets. The clouds drift lower. The air, now crisp and pale, begins to slow. And in that stillness, the first flake falls, a silent messenger from the sky. Snow is air-transformed water, reborn in the calm of cold. Each flake begins as a particle no larger than a speck of dust, a crystal seed that forms high in the freezing clouds. Around it, molecules of water vapor gather and lock into shape, each one drawn by temperature, humidity, and chance. The pattern that grows is unique, six-sided, symmetrical, and infinitely varied. Scientists have never found two identical snowflakes, though trillions fall every year. Their differences are subtle. An extra branch here, a twist there, tiny expressions of the invisible conditions in which they formed. Each flake is a record of the air's memory written in ice. As they descend, these crystals meet warmer, moister layers. Some cling together, creating fluffy clusters. Others melt slightly and refreeze, turning heavy and grainy. The result is snow that can be soft as dust or dense as wet sand. Under certain conditions, a single flake can drift for hours, spinning like a feather before touching the ground and disappearing without sound. Snow is the stillest sound in the world. It falls without echo, without haste, absorbing noise like velvet. When snow covers the land, it changes not just the scenery, but the sound of everything. The air grows. Muffled footsteps vanish into softness, Even the wind seems gentler. This hush has a physical reason. Snow's intricate structure traps air between its crystals, scattering and absorbing sound waves. What we feel as peace is physics, silence woven from billions of tiny mirrors of ice. And when the sun returns, that silence shimmers. Light scatters off the snow's crystalline facets, reflecting nearly all wavelengths. That's why fresh snow is so bright. It reflects almost 90% of sunlight, creating a luminous, pure white that feels like the earth itself is glowing. In the depths of winter, entire landscapes become sculpted by snow. Mountains grow softer valleys, fill, and rivers sleep beneath frozen blankets. Each flake joins the next, until the world is remade, reshaped into smooth, patient curves. The planet pauses, conserving energy, waiting for the slow warmth of spring to awaken it again. But not all frozen water falls as snow. Sometimes in the heart of a thunderstorm, rising currents hurl droplets upward into zones of freezing air. They turn solid, then fall, then rise again, layering ice upon ice until they grow too heavy to stay aloft. When they finally descend, they strike the ground as hail, compact, perfect spheres of layered frost. The largest hailstones ever recorded were nearly 8 inches across, larger than a grapefruit, weighing more than a pound. They formed in the heart of immense storms, held aloft by winds, spinning faster than 200 miles per hour until gravity reclaimed them. In their layers lies a story, each ring marking one cycle of rise and fall within the cloud. Like tree rings, hailstones record the memory of storms, each layer an echo of lightning, thunder, and wind. Elsewhere, frost speaks in subtler tones. On still nights when air near the ground cools quickly, water vapor settles directly onto cold surfaces as tiny crystals. They grow outward in branching patterns, delicate forests of ice that form on grass windows and rooftops. When morning light touches them, they vanish in seconds, leaving only dew. Hoarfrost. It's called a fleeting sculpture of the night's breath. Sometimes the air holds enough moisture for fog, a cloud that forgets to rise. It clings to the surface, wrapping trees and hills in grey softness. Inside it, distances disappear and time seems to slow. To walk through fog is to move through suspension between air and water, between seeing and being unseen. Ice storms tell another story. When rain falls through a layer of freezing air near the surface, it becomes supercooled liquid below freezing, waiting for a touch. The instant it hits a branch or wire, it solidifies, encasing everything in glass. Trees bend under the weight, streets shimmer, and the world becomes a fragile sculpture of transparency. In sunlight, it glitters like a frozen cathedral, even more quietly. Deep in the coldest regions of the world, snow becomes something else entirely. Over time, under its own weight, it compresses, fuses, and transforms into glacial ice blue and ancient, flowing as slowly as stone. Some glaciers are more than a mile thick, older than civilization itself. Inside them, tiny air bubbles preserve the breath of ancient skies, snapshots of atmospheres from thousands of years ago. When scientists drill into this ice and study those bubbles, they are reading history itself, learning how Earth's climate has changed, how warmth and cold have danced across the ages. Within that frozen memory lies the planet's quiet testimony cycles of change, patterns of resilience, balance regained again and again. Ice shapes, not just landscapes, but light itself. In polar regions, ice crystals in the upper atmosphere refract sunlight into halos, circles of brightness surrounding the sun or moon. On rare occasions, twin mock suns appear on either side of the real one sundogs, glowing fragments of light adrift in the frozen air. These visions are not illusion, but geometry light, refracted precisely through millions of suspended hexagonal plates of ice. The language of cold is patient. It speaks slowly over ages in frost and crystal in glaciers and mirrors of light. When snow falls on a forest, it doesn't silence life. It protects it. Beneath the blanket of snow, small mammals burrow into a world called the subnivean zone, a hidden realm of tunnels and warmth. The snow insulates them from freezing air above, keeping temperatures near the ground almost constant, even in deep winter. Life once again adapts to balance. Cold, for all its stillness, is not absence. It is another form of motion. Molecules slowed, but not stopped energy, restrained but not gone. When spring returns, that energy will release again as meltwater feeding rivers, filling reservoirs, and awakening forests. What freezes today will flow tomorrow. And if you've ever stood outside during a snowfall at night, when the world glows softly from the reflected light, you know the feeling it brings. The hush, the clarity, the sense that time has paused, holding its breath with you. There is peace in that pause, the peace of transformation slowed to its gentlest rhythm. Snow does not fall to end things, it falls to renew them. It rests the ground, cleanses the air, and prepares the soil for life to begin again. Beneath every frozen field, roots wait, patiently nourished by the stillness above. In the morning, when the first sunlight touches the snow, the world shines with impossible brightness. The air sparkles with ice dust for a brief moment before melting begins. The planet seems to be holding up a mirror to the sky. This is the balance of winter light within cold warmth, within stillness, life within sleep. And as the day unfolds, the snow begins its slow return to air and water, joining once again the great cycle that connects sky to sea. Each flake that melts is a small act of remembrance, water returning home. Let yourself rest in that rhythm, the rise and fall, the freeze and thaw, the breathing of the world in its quietest form. Because within this frozen calm, something stirs the first hints of motion again. And from that motion, the sky will soon awaken into power. From stillness, motion is born. From balance, the air begins to turn. And out of that turning, storms awaken. The quiet grace of snow and mist gives way to energy, unbound air, rising, colliding, and spinning into great spiraling engines of weather. Here, the sky reveals another side of itself, not serene, but alive, restless, and magnificent. A storm is never chaos. It is structure. It is balance, seeking itself again. Every storm, from the smallest whirlwind to the largest hurricane, begins the same way with uneven heat. The sun warms the earth unevenly oceans. More than land equator, more than poles. That imbalance sets the atmosphere in motion. Warm, moist air rises. Cooler air rushes in to replace it. The air twists, climbs, and folds upon itself. The invisible begins to take shape. Over warm tropical waters, this simple dance of air and heat can grow immense. Rising air forms towering columns of clouds called cumulonimbus, massive churning towers that stretch miles high into the sky. Inside, droplets condense and freeze, releasing heat that fuels more rising motion. The cycle builds upon itself, feeding, spinning, tightening. When this rotation becomes organized, a hurricane is born. A hurricane is not a single storm, but a system, an immense heat engine stretching hundreds of miles across. Its winds spiral inward around a calm center, the eye. In that eye, the air descends gently. It is eerily still, sometimes clear enough to see the stars through the break in the clouds. But beyond that circle of calm lies the eye wall, a ring of fury where winds can exceed 150 miles per hour. And yet even in this violence there is geometry. Air rises, cools, and descends again in perfect order, converting heat energy from the ocean into motion. In a single day, a mature hurricane releases more energy than all the power plants on Earth combined. Yet it remains guided by laws as simple and constant as gravity. To watch a hurricane from space is to see symmetry in motion. Vast arms of cloud curl around a single point, turning slowly across the blue face of the planet. Lightning flickers deep within. It is not rage you see, but rhythm, the breath of the ocean made visible. And then there are tornadoes, smaller, faster, more fleeting expressions of the same dance. A tornado begins within a supercell thunderstorm, when strong winds high in the atmosphere move faster and in a different direction than those near the ground. This difference in speed and angle creates wind shear, spinning the lower air into invisible horizontal tubes of rotation. Rising warm air tilts those tubes upright, stretching and narrowing them until they become visible funnels reaching from cloud to earth. At their strongest, tornadoes can spin at over 300 miles per hour, lifting trees, vehicles, and soil high into the air. Yet most last only minutes, touching down briefly before fading back into the sky that made them. They are the most concentrated form of weather energy, focused into a thread. From a distance, their beauty is undeniable. A column of air and dust, spiraling with grace, and power forming and dissolving like a thought. Even their shape, narrow at the ground, wide at the top, mirrors the balance between pressure, heat, and wind that sustains them. And while they seem wild, every tornado obeys the same principles that guide a gentle breeze. The difference is only in scale and speed. The same sun that warms your skin also powers these storms. The same moisture that forms morning dew can, under the right conditions, become a rotating tower of air. There is a quiet awe in realizing this, that all of weather, from a whispering wind to a spinning cyclone, is one connected expression of the same physical truth energy, seeking equilibrium. Even lightning, that brief and brilliant scar of the sky, belongs to this balance. In every storm, the atmosphere is trying to find peace again. It rises and falls, builds and releases, moves and calms, over and over, endlessly. When we look at storms only through fear, we miss their poetry. To understand them is to see how they complete the circle, how they draw heat from the ocean, spread rain across continents, and restore balance where the air has grown uneven. There are two storms we cannot see: great currents of air and vapor that encircle the planet like arteries. Jet streams thousands of miles long carry weather from west to east, guiding cyclones, steering clouds. On a map, they look like ribbons of motion. In truth, they are the planet's pulse, moving warmth and coolness, life and water in an endless flow. Every storm in its way is an act of renewal. After its winds subside, the land is cleansed. The air scrubbed the soil, enriched by minerals carried from the sea. Plants awaken, rivers swell, and the cycle begins again. When a storm passes and the sky opens once more, there is a clarity in the air, unlike any other, a sense that the world has exhaled. The pressure equalizes, the light returns, and in that moment, calm feels deeper, truer, earned. If you've ever watched a storm from a safe distance, perhaps through a window, perhaps across an open field, you felt that strange mixture of awe and serenity. The sound of thunder rolling, the rush of wind against glass, the flash that lights the clouds from within it, is energy made visible. sound made physical. The air, before a storm, carries its own tension, a stillness, an expectation. The scent of ozone rises, the skin prickles. Nature holds its breath. Then, with a single burst, the balance tips and motion returns. And in that release lies beauty, the kind of beauty that reminds us we are small, yet part of something vast and continuous. Ancient sailors once feared these tempests, yet they also used them. The winds that fueled storms were the same winds that carried ships across oceans, linking continents and cultures. The same forces that bend trees and sculpt clouds have guided human history, shaping our migrations and myths alike. In some traditions, storms were seen as the breath of gods, fierce cleansing, sacred. Lightning was a message, thunder a voice. Today, we see storms through the lens of physics, yet the reverence remains. To understand the power of air and water is not to diminish it, but to appreciate it more deeply. When you look upon a hurricane from orbit, a slow, spiraling masterpiece against the deep blue, it's hard not to feel that reverence return. You are seeing order in motion, symmetry in wildness, beauty in force. And those storms can reshape coastlines, carve valleys, and change lives. They are never lasting. The same winds that build them also disperse them. Every storm dissolves into stillness. Every cycle finds its calm again. When the final gust fades and sunlight breaks through, what remains is silence. Not emptiness, but balance restored. You can feel it in the air, cool and new, rinsed of tension. The storm has passed, and the world breathes again. That is the rhythm of weather rise and fall, tension and release, motion and peace. Let yourself rest in that rhythm now. Imagine the great spiral clouds turning far away, their arms unwinding into calm. Imagine the air settling, the waves smoothing, the balance returning. The planet has exhaled, and as it does, the next great cycle begins, the ancient pulse of water and wind that we call the monsoon. There are places on Earth where the rain has a schedule, where the sky itself seems to keep time. These are the lands of the monsoon, where air and water move to an ancient rhythm older than civilization itself. The word monsoon comes from the Arabic mausim, meaning season, and that is what it truly is. Not a single storm, not even a type of weather, but a grand pattern of breathing, the heartbeat of the tropics. It is the planet's great inhale and exhale, a cycle of wind and water that shapes entire continents. As the months grow, warmer sunlight heats the land faster than the sea. Over Asia, Africa, and the Americas, the air above land rises, forming vast, low-pressure zones. Cooler, wetter air from the ocean rushes in to fill the space, bringing with it clouds, rain, and thunder. When the seasons shift and the land cools again, the winds reverse, flowing back toward the ocean in a mirror rhythm. Thus the monsoon breathes in, then out year after year, a pulse that never stops. In India, the summer monsoon arrives like a slow building song. For weeks, the air grows thick and heavy, charged with anticipation. Then one morning, clouds gather over the Arabian Sea, dark and vast, rolling toward the land. The first rain falls, a whisper that becomes a roar. Dust turns to scent, fields darken, and the world exhales. This rain is not gentle. It falls in sheets, in torrents, drumming on roofs and rivers alike. Yet to millions, it is not destruction, but renewal. It fills wells, floods, rice paddies, revives forests, and cools the fever of long, dry months. The monsoon is life itself, a reminder that even the sky keeps promises, and yet it is never the same twice. Each year brings its own rhythm, its own tempo. Some summers the rains arrive early, others late. Some years they linger, others retreat too soon. Farmers have watched these moods for centuries, learning to read the signs, the color of the sky, the smell of the air, the direction of the wind at dawn. To live within the monsoon is to live in harmony with uncertainty. Elsewhere, other monsoons move to their own songs. In West Africa, moist Atlantic winds sweep inland, greening the Sahel after months of dry harmattan dust. In Australia, the northern coast transforms under the tropical downpour. Rivers swell, frogs awaken, and the land turns emerald almost overnight. Even the deserts have their rhythm. The American Southwest, though parched most of the year, feels the pulse of its own summer rains. From Mexico's Gulf, moisture drifts northward, building towering clouds over red canyons. Lightning flashes against sandstone cliffs. The scent of creosote fills the air, a plant evolved to welcome rain with fragrance. The monsoon is not just weather, it is architecture. It carves the rivers that feed civilizations, nourishes forests that shape the air, and defines the migration of animals and people alike. For millennia, trade routes and cultures followed its winds, ships setting sail only when the monsoon turned favorable, timing their journeys by the sky's breath. Every droplet of rain in these great cycles has a story. It may have risen from the Indian Ocean, crossed the Himalayas, fallen onto a field in Nepal, seeped into soil, and flowed again to the sea. The water remembers, and the cycle repeats. To understand the monsoon is to understand patience. The air shifts slowly, days before the first drop falls. Clouds gather in layers, each one a signal of what's to come. You can almost feel the tension, the weight of moisture suspended above the land. And then at last, release a downpour so complete that it feels like the sky itself is melting. Between each season there is pause, the interlude of stillness when winds change direction. During these moments the world holds its breath. The sea cools, the air steadies, and for a few weeks weather seems to hesitate between two choices. But the pattern always returns. The pulse begins anew. This rhythm does more than bring rain. It drives the entire global circulation of air. The monsoon's rise and fall help power the great Hadley cells that move heat from the equator toward the poles. In this way, the breath of a single region becomes part of the planet's larger respiration, one lung in the atmospheric body of Earth. And just as the Earth breathes, so too does life respond. Trees shed leaves before the monsoon to conserve moisture. Frogs bury themselves deep in the soil, waiting for the vibration of thunder to wake them. Birds migrate ahead of the rains, riding on shifting winds following the scent of wet soil. Entire ecosystems pivot on this signal, the pulse of water returning. When the rains end, the air changes once again. The clouds drift apart, revealing a sky washed clean, and the land begins to dry. Rivers retreat to their channels, and the cycle reverses. Yet traces of the monsoon remain in the damp soil, the full reservoirs, the bright leaves of new growth. The planet carries the rhythm forward. There is a human rhythm in it too. In many cultures, the monsoon defines the calendar. Festivals, plantings, harvests, and journeys all turn around it. In villages from India to Indonesia, children run barefoot in the first rain, shouting with joy as the dry earth turns dark beneath them. In poems and songs, the monsoon is remembered not as a force of nature, but as an old friend, reliable, wild, and necessary. There is beauty in this balance, that something so vast, so powerful, can also be so predictable, so vital. The monsoon is a lesson written in water, that movement brings renewal, and that every cycle has its time. If you listen closely on a humid evening, you can almost hear the world preparing for it. The cicadas growing louder, the wind turning south, the air thick with scent. Even in silence, the rhythm continues. And when the last clouds fade, leaving behind a world cleansed and green. The land rests, knowing the pattern will return. This is the heart of weather repetition with infinite variation, the same song sung in countless forms. And beyond the rain and wind that dance to this rhythm, another invisible sculptor continues its work, shaping land, sea, and cloud alike. It moves without color, without weight, but with power enough to carve mountains and carry deserts across oceans. It is the hand of the sky that never rests. It is the wind. The air moves, always, even when we cannot feel it. Even when the world seems still, the invisible hand of the wind is tracing its patterns across every leaf, every grain of sand, every drifting cloud. Wind is motion made visible only by what it touches. A dance between temperature and pressure, heat and height rising and falling, giving the sky its shape. It is both sculptor and storyteller, patient and tireless. Every breeze that brushes your skin begins with sunlight. The sun warms the planet unevenly. Oceans, mountains, and plains each absorb and release heat at different rates. Warm air expands, becoming lighter and rises. Cooler air, denser and heavier, rushes in to take its place. That movement, that endless seeking of balance, is the wind. You can feel it as a whisper or a roar, as a sigh through the grass or a gale that bends trees to the ground. The same principle drives both the atmosphere's eternal effort to even itself out. The wind is ancient. It has swept across the planet since the first oceans formed, shaping continents grain by grain. Over ages, it has carved deserts, carried seeds, and polished stones smooth. Every dune, every drifting cloud of dust is the handwriting of the air, the record of how the planet breathes. In the great deserts, the wind sculpts waves of sand as tall as buildings. It lifts dust high enough to cross oceans, fine particles from the Sahara drifting across the Atlantic to feed the soils of the Amazon rainforest. Each summer, billions of tons of mineral dust make this journey, carried by steady trade winds that never sleep. What begins as dry earth ends as nourishment on another continent. These same global winds weave a system so vast and intricate that it connects every corner of the world. Near the equator, warm air rises in powerful updrafts, creating the trade winds that blow westward. Farther north and south, cooler air sinks and flows back eastward as the westerlies. High above ribbons of faster air, jet streams snake around the planet, steering storms, shaping climates, and guiding the patterns we call weather. From space, the wind is invisible, yet its presence can be seen in the movement of clouds, in the turning of cyclones, in the ripples of ocean waves. It wraps the world like a living skin, moving heat and moisture from one hemisphere to another, ensuring that no place remains forever still. And in smaller, quieter ways, the wind tells its story closer to the ground. On a hot afternoon, you might feel a gentle breeze rise suddenly as the ground warms and air begins to lift. This is the anabatic wind air, climbing upward along slopes and valleys. At night, as the land cools, the process reverses and cooler air slides back down. A katabatic wind, soft and silent, like a breath returning home. There are winds with names older than nations. The mistral, cold and dry, sweeps down from the French Alps, clearing skies with its icy clarity. The Chinook descends from the Rockies, warm and fierce, melting snow in a single afternoon. The Sirocco blows north from the Sahara, carrying the heat of deserts to Europe's coasts. Each wind has its character, its tone, its history. Sailors once knew them all by heart. The wind was their compass, their clock, their language. They read its direction by the tilt of a sail, its strength by the sound it made in the ropes. To them, the wind was not invisible. It was voice, movement, destiny. In nature too, the wind is guide and artist. Birds use its currents to cross continents, soaring thousands of miles with barely a flap of their wings. Seeds ride it across valleys to find new soil. Even microscopic spores and pollen drift on its flow, spreading life quietly through the air. The planet's biodiversity, its forests, flowers, and fields, owes its very existence to this unseen traveler. And yet, the wind can also sculpt in grand geological strokes. In places like Utah's arches or Namibia's dunes, it has chiseled rock and sand into forms of astonishing delicacy. Over millions of years, air carrying grains of dust has polished stone as finely as any artist's tool. The result is a world shaped not by hammer and chisel, but by patience. Wind also gives rise to phenomena that seem almost magical. Dust devils, small whirlwinds that dance over dry ground form when patches of hot air rise suddenly spinning as they meet cooler air above. They twist playfully across fields, miniature cousins of tornadoes fading as quickly as they appear. Far more powerful are the global winds aloft, like the jet streams, narrow corridors of high-speed air, moving at hundreds of miles per hour circling the planet. These streams steer weather systems, determine flight paths, and mark the boundaries of cold and warm air. When the jet stream dips or bends, it brings with it the moods of the sky, heat waves, cold fronts, storms, and calm. All these patterns, great and small, arise from a single truth. The wind is the atmosphere trying to find peace. It moves energy from where there is too much to where there is less. It smooths, equalizes, restores. It is balance in motion. There is something profoundly human about that idea, that even the air must move to stay alive, must keep changing to remain whole. If you've ever stood on a cliffside and felt the wind rush against you, you've felt the planet's pulse. If you've watched a flag ripple, a candle flicker, or a field of wheat bend in waves, you've seen the air speaking. It carries the heat of deserts, the cool of oceans, the scent of rain, the song of faraway lands. It connects everything that breathes. And though we cannot see it, the wind paints the sky every day. It shapes the clouds, lifting them into towers, or stretching them into lines. It spreads dust that scatters sunlight, tinting sunsets with hues of orange and violet. Even the calmest evening breeze helps weave the colors of twilight. The wind has many moods. Sometimes it whispers a lullaby through open windows. Sometimes it roars the deep hum of the world in motion. But always it passes, always it changes, and always behind its voice lies silence. When it stops, the air feels heavy, as though the planet itself is holding its breath. And then, without warning, it stirs again, a reminder that balance never lasts long, and that all things move toward renewal. The same wind that lifts dust across oceans also carries storms into being. When air and sunlight meet in the right embrace, the sky begins to paint rainbows, halos, and arcs of color, dancing in the wake of motion. And so the sculptor of air becomes the artist of light. The wind, having shaped the world, now turns to shape beauty itself. When sunlight meets the drifting breath of air, the sky begins to paint. It does not use brushes or pigment, but waves of light bending, scattering, and refracting through the quiet materials of water and ice. This is where the atmosphere becomes art. Each day, light enters Earth's air and meets countless tiny boundaries, droplets, dust, and molecules. And each boundary changes it just slightly. Blue light scatters most, painting our daytime sky with serenity. Red and gold travel farther, turning dawn and dusk into soft horizons of warmth. But when wind and rain mingle, when sunlight strikes, droplets suspended in air, the sky creates one of its oldest and simplest masterpieces: the rainbow. A rainbow is light made visible in 7 tones, each color born from the same beam. When sunlight enters a raindrop, it slows and bends, splitting into its component wavelengths. Some of the light reflects off the back of the droplet and emerges again, angled back toward your eyes at precisely 42 degrees. From billions of droplets, each sending back just one color, the arc appears. No 2 people ever see the same rainbow. Each viewer's position defines the light's path. Your rainbow exists only for you, a personal geometry between sun, eye, and water. Sometimes a second arc appears above the first, fainter, reversed in order formed by light bouncing twice inside each droplet before escaping. Between them lies a darker band called Alexander's belt, where no light reaches your eyes at all. Even here in nature's painting, shadow and color coexist in harmony. Rainbows are fleeting. They last only as long as the balance of rain and light holds. And perhaps that is why they move us. They remind us that beauty often depends on impermanence. But the sky's artistry does not end with rain. High above in air, cold enough to freeze breath, ice crystals form halos around the sun and moon. Each hexagonal flake bends light by exactly 22 degrees, creating a perfect ring of pale fire. When the crystals tilt in unison, twin bright spots appear on either side of the sun, sundogs or parhelia, glowing fragments of light adrift in the frozen air. At night, their lunar counterparts shimmer softly halos around the moon, predicting moisture to come. For centuries, sailors and shepherds read these signs like verses of a celestial poem. Ring around the moon, rain or snow soon. Sometimes, when ice crystals drift in calm air near the ground, sunlight scatters into shimmering columns that reach upward like pillars, vertical paths of radiance stretching from horizon to sky. They look almost supernatural, yet they are simply the work of geometry reflections from flat, floating plates of ice, catching the low sun's rays. There are even rarer works, the glory, a circular halo of color that appears around the shadow of an observer's head when looking down upon mist or cloud. Mountain climbers see it often, their own silhouettes ringed in rainbow light. Pilots too witness this spectacle from above the clouds, their planes encircled by soft coronas of color. To see a glory is to see yourself framed in light, a quiet reminder of how perspective defines beauty. And sometimes, under the right conditions, the air itself glows. When particles of dust or water scatter the sun's rays near the horizon, twilight lingers a faint band of golden pink, called the belt of Venus. It is the last kiss of sunlight on the upper atmosphere, seen from below as a blush across the edge of night. All these paintings of the sky, the rainbow, the halo, the sundog, the pillar, the glory, are made not by chance but by pattern. Each one is a visible echo of how light behaves when it meets matter, a conversation between energy and form. If rainbows are the sky's song of color, then sunsets are its lullaby. At the close of day, the sun's light must travel through more of the atmosphere to reach you. Shorter blue wavelengths scatter away, leaving only the deeper reds and golds. The same air that makes our sky blue at noon turns it crimson at dusk. The world seems to glow from within, bathed in warmth before fading into night. The ancient Greeks believed that light was a kind of breath, a divine essence that connected heaven and earth. In a sense, they were right, for light does more than illuminate. It sustains life, stirs the air, drives the cycles of wind and water. The same rays that paint the sky also feed the ocean's guide migrations and power the growth of forests. When lightning flashes within a storm, it too paints with light briefly, violently, beautifully. For a heartbeat, the world becomes bright, as noon shadows vanish, and everything stands revealed. Then, darkness returns, and with it, a deeper appreciation of the calm that follows. Even the clouds themselves are canvases for the sun's art. At sunrise, their undersides blaze in copper and pink. At midday, they gleam in shades of white and silver. At evening, they smolder in orange, violet, and gold. Each moment of the day creates its own palette, each change of angle, a new expression of the same light. But beyond the visible spectrum lies a hidden world of color wavelengths. Our eyes cannot see, but our instruments can. Infrared light, felt as warmth, shows us the heat patterns of clouds and oceans. Ultraviolet light reveals the chemistry of the upper atmosphere, where ozone absorbs the sun's fiercest rays. In X-rays and radio waves, astronomers see storms of energy in the sun's corona solar flares that ripple through space, touching even our planet's magnetic field. All of it, visible and invisible, soft and fierce, is part of the same spectrum, the same language of light. When you look up at a rainbow or a halo, you are not just witnessing beauty, you are witnessing physics made tender, energy behaving with grace. The mathematics of refraction turn to poetry, and even in darkness, when clouds cover the stars and the world seems unlit, light is never gone. It bends, scatters, hides, but it waits. Always somewhere, dawn is already beginning. As night settles, the atmosphere shifts. Once more, the light of day gives way to other illuminations. Faint, ethereal glows, born of charged particles and solar winds. The canvas of the sky changes medium from water and ice to magnetism and fire. Above the poles, where the world turns cold and the air grows thin, another kind of light begins to dance. A living curtain of green and violet, moving silently in the darkness. It is the aurora, the sky's final masterpiece. And through it, we glimpse the cosmic origins of every color, every beam, every shadow we have ever known. Far above the clouds, beyond the reach of rain and wind, the sky begins to shimmer with light of another kind. Light not born from reflection or scattering, but from the restless touch of the sun itself. In the silence above the atmosphere, the sun is never still. Its surface boils and arcs, its magnetic fields twist and snap, flinging streams of charged particles into space, an unending breath of fire called the solar wind. This wind travels outward at hundreds of miles per second, crossing the gulf between worlds. Most of it passes harmlessly by flowing around our planet like water around a stone. But sometimes, the sun exhales more forcefully. A solar flare bursts outward, releasing billions of tons of plasma, a coronal mass ejection, and that wave of charged energy races toward Earth. 2 days later, it reaches us, and there, at the edge of our planet's magnetic field, light is born. As the solar wind meets Earth's magnetosphere, it stirs invisible currents that funnel particles toward the poles. These particles collide with atoms of oxygen and nitrogen high in the upper atmosphere, transferring energy that the atoms then release as light. The result is one of the most beautiful sights on Earth, the aurora. They dance across the night sky like living ribbons, green where oxygen glows low, red where it shines, higher blue, and violet where nitrogen breathes its light. The air itself becomes radiant. The aurora is both silent and alive, moving in waves and curls, that mirror the sun's unseen pulse. To see it is to watch the solar wind, made visible a living link between Earth and star. Above the Arctic, where night lingers for months, the northern lights aurora borealis shimmer in green veils that stretch from horizon to horizon. Sometimes they ripple like silk. Sometimes they burst suddenly into spirals, then vanish, leaving only the memory of movement. In the southern hemisphere, their twin, the aurora australis, dances in equal splendor, unseen by most over the frozen seas around Antarctica. Both are mirror images of one phenomenon: energy meeting, air-fire, meeting breath. The light of the aurora is older than life, yet always new. It has burned since the first atoms formed and collided since the first star released its wind into the dark. Even now, each flicker in the polar sky carries within it a whisper from the sun. A journey of 93 million miles, ending in color and silence. Sometimes, when solar storms grow strong, the aurora reaches farther south than usual. In those rare nights, people who have never seen it before step outside and find the heavens glowing green above their rooftops. For a moment, the cosmic becomes personal, and the distance between worlds feels smaller. And while these displays are peaceful from the ground, they are the visible edges of great power. The same magnetic storms that paint the sky can ripple through the planet's electric grid, disturb radio signals, and confuse the compasses of satellites and migratory birds alike. We live beneath an invisible shield, the magnetosphere, that guards us from most of the sun's radiation. Without it, the atmosphere would long ago have been stripped away as it was on Mars. The aurora, then, is not just beauty. It is proof of protection, the soft glow of a planet defending its breath. High above the glowing curtains, other lights flicker, rare, stranger, and fleeting. Sprites and blue jets flash above thunderclouds, reaching upward into the stratosphere, like the touch of storms seeking space. For centuries, pilots and travelers spoke of them in whispers, flashes in the night sky that science could not explain. Now we know they are part of the same language, the electric dialogue between Earth and sky. Beyond even these heights, space itself hums with energy. The solar wind carries charged particles that spiral along magnetic lines into the vast ring of Earth's magnetic field, the Van Allen belts. These invisible regions store and release energy, protecting us, while occasionally unleashing their own subtle storms. To the human eye, the sky above seems tranquil, but beyond its blue calm, the upper atmosphere is a boundary in constant motion, waves of charged air, invisible tides of electricity and magnetism. The sun's activity rises and falls in an 11-year cycle, and with each peak, auroras grow more frequent. Radio waves ripple, and the atmosphere itself swells slightly outward into space. Every pulse of solar wind, every flicker of auroral light, reminds us that Earth is not an isolated world, but part of a vast breathing system, a conversation between sun and planet energy, and air light and life. To stand beneath an aurora is to stand within that conversation. If you find yourself one night in the far north, perhaps in Alaska or Norway, or beneath the quiet skies of Iceland, and you look up to see the first faint shimmer of green weight, let your eyes adjust. The light will grow, flowing like water across the sky, bending, folding, and rippling in great curtains of living color. You may see streaks of red above the green, or purple ribbons that twist and vanish in seconds. No two auroras are ever alike. Each one is the signature of a solar breath written upon the sky in the ink of ionized air. In the calm between displays, when the glow fades and the stars emerge again, you may feel a stillness, not of silence, but of connection. You are watching the universe at work, the same forces that shaped the sun and planets billions of years ago, still painting the night with fire. The ancient peoples of the north believed that the aurora was the dance of spirits, ancestors, or gods moving through the heavens. And, in a sense, they were right. For what is this light but the energy of stars flowing through the thin veil of our atmosphere, uniting Earth and cosmos in motion and color? Every time the aurora dances, it is telling an old story that we live not beneath the universe but within it. The same energy that feeds the northern lights powers the sun, drives the winds, and warms the seas. It is all one motion, one continuous current of creation. When dawn comes, the lights fade gently into gray, leaving only the memory of motion. But their trace remains in the air, in the magnetic field, in the stories we tell. The next night, they may return softer or brighter, always different, always the same. Beneath these dancing lights, far below, where the solar wind whispers the oceans and atmosphere, continue their quiet work, exchanging heat, shaping weather, moving energy from equator to pole. The same balance that exists between sun and sky repeats itself on Earth's surface, reflected in every tide, every gust, every cloud that forms and dissolves. The aurora is a mirror of that balance, the great above, echoing the great below. And as the lights fade into the horizon, the world beneath them begins to stir once more. The air warms. The clouds gather. The conversation of light gives way again to the whisper of water and wind. Beneath the shimmering lights of the aurora, the world continues its quiet rhythm, the slow exchange of warmth between ocean and sky. For while the heavens move with magnetism and light, the earth itself breathes in tides and vapor in currents, both seen and unseen. The ocean and the atmosphere are not separate things. They are two halves of a single system. One fluid of water, one of air, endlessly trading heat, moisture, and motion. Together, they create the climate, the long, patient heartbeat of the planet. When sunlight falls on the sea, it warms the surface and turns water into vapor. That invisible breath rises, cools, and forms clouds. Clouds that drift release rain and return their gift to the land. Rivers carry that water back to the sea, and the cycle begins again. Every drop of rain, every wave, every gust of wind is part of this exchange. From above, it looks almost like choreography. Currents of air sweep across the globe, mirrored by currents of water flowing beneath them. The two systems intertwine, weaving patterns that shape the weather and the seasons. Some of these ocean currents are vast rivers within the sea. The Gulf Stream, for instance, flows north from the Caribbean, carrying warm water along the eastern coast of North America before veering toward Europe. That warmth softens winters in distant lands, keeping the coasts of Ireland and Norway far milder than other places at the same latitude. Elsewhere, cold currents slide from the poles, bringing nutrient-rich waters that feed entire ecosystems. Where the warm and cold currents meet, life blooms in abundance: plankton, fish, birds, whales, drawn to the edges where contrast creates energy. This is one of Earth's most intricate harmonies: warmth and cold balancing across continents and seas. The atmosphere moves heat quickly, while the ocean moves it slowly, storing and releasing it over months and years. Together, they keep the planet temperate, never too still, never too wild. Sometimes this balance shifts. Every few years, the tropical Pacific begins to warm unusually, its trade winds weakening, its currents slowing. This is El Niño, the little boy, a pattern that ripples through the entire planet. Rain falls where deserts once were. Droughts strike where rains should be. The opposite phase, La Niña, brings cooler waters and reversed patterns. Together they form a natural rhythm, part of the great breathing of the earth. These changes remind us that nothing in the system stands alone. A shift in one ocean can change rainfall halfway across the world. A current deep beneath the surface can shape the winds that blow above mountains thousands of miles away. Even the smallest droplets at the ocean's surface play their part. Evaporation cools the sea, while condensation releases heat to the air. This constant exchange of energy drives storms, fuels monsoons, and steers the global winds. The weather we feel every day begins here in the meeting between sunlight and salt water. If the air is the skin of the world, the ocean is its bloodstream. It carries warmth and nutrients from one hemisphere to another, circulating through deep, slow currents that take centuries to complete their journey. This great conveyor belt of water, the thermohaline circulation, dives into the abyss near the poles, where cold, dense water sinks, then rises again near the equator, completing a planetary cycle that has run for millions of years. And within this vast network of motion, life thrives. Microscopic phytoplankton, drifting near the surface, turn sunlight into energy, releasing the oxygen we breathe. They are the true lungs of the planet, more vital than any forest. Every second, the ocean exhales life into the air, feeding the world quietly from below. At night, this connection deepens. As the land cools, the sea releases its stored warmth, sending mist and clouds toward the shore. Morning fog, heavy and soft, is the ocean's breath made visible. It blurs the line between water and sky, reminding us that the two are never truly apart. In places where air and sea meet most dramatically along coastlines and estuaries, weather becomes art. Sea breezes form as warm air over land rises, and cool air from the water rushes inland to replace it. The process reverses at night, a steady pulse that shapes climates and nurtures life. Birds ride these winds, fish follow their temperature trails, and even human cities have learned to build in their rhythm. The ocean's influence reaches farther still. The moisture it gives to the air becomes rain that feeds rivers and forests thousands of miles away. Without this gift, continents would wither. The Amazon rainforest, for example, receives much of its water from vapor that once rose from the Atlantic, an unbroken exchange between sea and tree. It is easy to forget that this balance is fragile. A shift in temperature or current can alter entire ecosystems. The melting of polar ice, the warming of shallow seas, the rising of humidity, all these ripple outward through the chain of connection. Yet, even as these patterns change, the planet continues to seek equilibrium, adjusting, adapting, evolving. The ocean and atmosphere do not resist change, they flow with it. Their patience is measured not in days or years, but in centuries. If you could listen closely enough, you might hear their conversation. The ocean murmuring upward through waves of vapor, the sky answering in rainfall. Together, they trade warmth, motion, and breath in a dialogue that has shaped Earth's surface since time began. On calm evenings by the shore, you can almost hear it, the hush between waves, the faint rustle of air moving inland, the mingling scents of salt and rain. That sound, soft and endless, is the voice of the planet itself. Some of the energy carried by these exchanges becomes storms, immense cyclones and typhoons that rise from the ocean's surface. But most of it remains gentle, steady, balanced. Even in calm, the system is alive, moving energy around the world to keep the air, the land, and the sea in harmony. And as the tides move, so too does time. The moon circling above pulls at the ocean, with its gravity shaping the rhythm of waves and currents. The same pull that raises the sea also tugs faintly at the air, stirring the winds. The connection between sky and water reaches beyond Earth itself into the gravity of the stars. In this way, the planet breathes with the cosmos, each tide a heartbeat, each wave a pulse, the ocean above in vapor and rain, and the ocean below in water and current are one continuous motion. Together, they sustain the delicate balance that allows life to flourish. When the balance wavers, the world adjusts, sometimes slowly with patience, sometimes suddenly with force, but always it seeks peace again. And as that peace returns, the air and water settle into rhythm once more, calm, after motion, reflection, after energy. For in the vast exchange between sea and sky, the world finds its pulse, the rhythm of warmth, of wind, of time itself. And yet, even this steady pattern can shift. The air grows restless, the cycles stretch and bend, new shapes of weather begin to form. Change, like a subtle note, enters the song. The rhythm of weather is ancient, patient, and cyclical, like the steady turning of a great clock. But even the most enduring patterns are never fixed. The air learns, the ocean remembers, the planet adjusts. Change in nature is not an interruption, it is part of the design. Across centuries, the Earth's climate has breathed in long waves, ice ages, rising and falling, like tides, deserts, expanding and retreating forests, advancing toward the poles, and then pulling back again. These are not sudden events, but slow songs shaped by the tilt of the planet, the drift of continents, the heartbeat of the sun itself. And yet, in our brief moment of history, the tempo has shifted. The balance between heat and cold wind and water has begun to change more swiftly than before. Every breath of air holds a message. Invisible gases like carbon dioxide and methane are the planet's quiet record keepers, marking the story of life. Volcanoes, oceans, and now us. In the last few centuries, their levels have risen higher than they have been in hundreds of thousands of years, trapping warmth close to the surface. This warmth changes the language of weather. Glaciers melt, sea levels climb, storms grow stronger, and seasons arrive out of rhythm. The air holds more moisture now, so rains fall heavier, while elsewhere, dryness lingers longer. The gentle predictability that once guided migrations, plantings, and harvests begins to blur. But even as the patterns evolve, the planet continues to seek equilibrium. It is not chaos. It is the Earth, adjusting, responding, finding a new balance in a world touched by its most transformative force, ourselves. Human beings are part of this pattern. The fires we light, the forests we fell, the fuels we burn, all return to the air, becoming part of the great conversation between atmosphere and life. And yet, the same mind that has altered the balance also holds the power to restore it. We are not separate from nature. We are woven into its breath. Scientists across the world watch these changes. Closely, satellites tracing the movement of clouds, sensors measuring ocean, heat, ice cores, whispering stories from millennia past. Each piece of data is a note in a symphony of evidence, and together they tell a single truth: the Earth is warming and the rhythm of its weather is shifting. But within this shift lies hope, because every movement, every system, every cloud that forms is guided by laws that still hold. The planet has endured change before, from ancient volcanic winters to fiery global thaws, and in every cycle life has adapted. Even now, forests breathe deeper, oceans absorb and release. Carbon and winds carry the seeds of renewal. The balance may shift, but the Earth remains dynamic, resilient, alive. There is a quiet beauty in the way nature responds. As the Arctic melts, dark waters absorb more sunlight, creating warmth that alters winds and currents. Those same winds can bring rain to lands that once were dry, awakening dormant seeds. In the tropics, rising warmth fuels clouds that reflect sunlight back into space. A feedback of balance, not perfection, but persistence. Every system affects another. It is a reminder that everything on this planet, from a leaf to a storm, is connected by invisible threads of exchange. And though the scale of change feels vast, it begins small molecule by molecule, breath by breath. The warmth that melts ice is the same warmth that lets a flower bloom in spring. The same air that carries carbon across continents also carries pollen, water, and life. Our part in this story is still being written. In cities and fields, in laboratories and classrooms, humans are learning to understand not only the causes of change, but its rhythms, to listen once more to the quiet cues of the natural world. The hum of the wind, the scent of the first rain, the migration of birds. These are not background details. They are signals, reminders of our shared breath with the planet. Even our technologies now listen to Earth's whispers. Satellites observe the slow melt of glaciers, the greening of tundra, the movement of deserts. Machines built by human hands now measure the pulse of the world, not to control it, but to understand it. The challenge is not to stop change, but to live wisely within it, to rediscover harmony with a system that has always moved, shifted, and evolved. In a way, climate itself is a teacher showing us that balance is not stillness but motion. That equilibrium is found not in resisting change, but in adapting with awareness. Just as the oceans flow to cool the equator and warm the poles, just as the winds move to even pressure between continents, so too can we learn to move in balance, to give where there is too much, to restore where there is less. There is a quiet optimism in this realization, because the same sunlight that fuels storms also powers our potential energy from the stars, captured and used to sustain life more gently. The same atmosphere that carries carbon can carry renewal. The same water cycle that floods one shore replenishes another. The Earth's systems are vast, but they respond to small things. A single seed can begin a forest. A restored wetland can cool a region. A cleaner breath of air can alter the course of clouds. And so, in the grand conversation of the planet, we are not just observers, we are participants. Every choice, every action, every moment of care ripples outward through the same invisible currents that shape the weather itself. In this truth there is comfort. We are not powerless in the face of change. We are part of the pattern. The Earth song includes our note, and though the rhythm shifts, sometimes too fast, sometimes uneven, the melody continues. The air still moves. The rain still falls. The sun still rises. Change is not the end of beauty. It is its renewal. For in every cycle of transformation, the world rediscovers itself, sometimes quieter, sometimes stronger, but always alive. And as the weather evolves, as oceans breathe deeper and winds learn new routes, a new harmony begins to emerge, one shaped by both nature and thought, both patience and awareness. This is the living pattern of the planet, one that learns, remembers, and renews, and somewhere in that renewal the air begins to calm again. The clouds drift apart. The sunlight falls softly over a still horizon. What remains is not fear, but wonder, the quiet knowledge that even change is a form of balance. At last, the air grows quiet. The clouds drift apart, thinning into silver threads that fade into blue. And for the first time in what feels like forever, the earth exhales in stillness. The storms have passed. The rains have settled into soil. The light now falls clean and gentle, moving across rivers and forests like a slow breath of peace. In the hush that follows, the world feels timeless. The sky, no longer speaking in thunder or wind, reflects only silence. A deep, listening silence that seems to stretch beyond sound itself. This is the moment after motion, the reflection, the pause. It is here that the true rhythm of weather can be felt, not in its power or turbulence, but in its balance, the space between one breath and the next. The still air carries memory. Every molecule around you has traveled the world countless times, across deserts and oceans, through forests, cities, and the quiet halls of mountains. The air you breathe tonight may once have filled the lungs of ancient trees, drifted through the feathers of migrating birds, or swirled above the glaciers of another age. The atmosphere is the planet's memory, not written in books, but carried in motion. It remembers warmth and cold storm, and calm creation and decay. It holds the faint perfume of every flower that has ever bloomed, the smoke of fires long extinguished, the salt of ancient seas. And as it rests now, soft and still, it reflects the harmony that all life depends upon. When the wind sleeps, you can feel the world's pulse more clearly. The leaves no longer tremble. The lakes turn to mirrors. In that reflection, the sky meets itself, above and below, seamless, infinite. In this quiet balance, everything seems connected again. The warmth of the air, the scent of soil, the glimmer of starlight, each detail becomes part of the same whole. Each vibration of energy. In conversation with another, you begin to sense what the scientists, poets, and wanderers have always known, that weather is not just an event, but an expression. The sky does not merely cover the earth, it belongs to it. Breath for breath, pulse for pulse. We too are part of this stillness. Our hearts beat in rhythm with the turning of the planet. Our breath matches the slow tides of the air. We are not observers of the atmosphere, but participants in its movement, cells in the body of a living world. Think of this: every exhale you release tonight will join the greater rhythm, rising, drifting, dissolving into the unseen. A single breath will travel the globe, merging with the breath of trees, oceans, and clouds. Somewhere, months from now, it may return as rain or frost, or a whisper of wind across distant fields. You are in this way eternal, not in form, but in motion. The stillness around you now is not emptiness, but completion. It is what remains after the song is sung, after energy has returned to rest. The same stillness fills the space between heartbeats, between tides, between stars. It is the quiet scaffold upon which everything else moves. If you listen closely, you can hear it. The distant hum of the planet, faint and low. A background note that never ends. The resonance of wind through mountain passes, of waves beneath the crust of molten rock moving far below. These are the deep tones of Earth's music, always playing even in silence. In this calm reflection comes easily. You begin to see the patterns, the way every force, no matter how chaotic, moves toward equilibrium. The way every storm, no matter how fierce, gives way to peace. The planet teaches this lesson constantly. Motion, rest, renewal. It is a rhythm older than time, yet always new. Even the air that feels motionless is alive with invisible dances, molecules vibrating, exchanging energy, colliding and drifting apart. There is no true stillness, only subtle emotion too gentle to feel. The peace you sense is balance, not stasis, the perfect equality of countless movements cancelling one another into calm. The atmosphere, like the ocean, never truly sleeps, but it can rest, and in its rest it reminds us how to do the same. When we find calm, we are not withdrawing from the world, we are rejoining its deeper rhythm. We align our breath with that of the planet, and for a moment, we belong completely. close your eyes for a second and imagine the slow spin of the earth beneath your feet, the faint tug of gravity holding you to its surface, the thin layer of air, fragile and miraculous, wrapping the planet like a blanket of life. You are inside that blanket. You are part of it. Every breath, every sound, every heartbeat is a note in its endless composition. The weather, the climate, the seasons, they are not external forces. They are the pulse of the world reflected through us. And so as the atmosphere settles, we too can settle, knowing that the same stillness that drapes over the land is the same calm that can live within us. The beauty of this quiet is not in its perfection, but in its impermanence. Soon, the wind will rise again, clouds will gather, rain will return. But for now, this piece is a reminder that balance always follows motion, that light always follows shadow, that silence is not the absence of sound, but the completion of it. Every element of the world seems to glow softly now. Mist lingers in the valleys. Rivers mirror the fading sky. Stars emerge one by one, their light, unblinking, ancient, steady. Above them, the thin veil of atmosphere glows faintly blue, a fragile, luminous border between life and infinity. It protects everything we know, yet remains invisible to those who forget to look up. And when you do look up in the silence after rain, in the stillness after storm, you realize this air, this light, this calm, they are the same ingredients that once shaped the stars. The atoms in your breath were forged in stellar furnaces, scattered through space, gathered into clouds, rained upon the earth, and now drift once more between sky and sea. The air is ancient, and so are you. This is what the stillness reveals, that you have always been part of the cycle, from fire to breath, from dust to light. As the night deepens, a breeze may rise again, soft, unhurried, patient. It moves across your face like a whisper, as if to remind you that the planet is still breathing, still alive, still in balance. And in that moment, the reflection becomes complete. You are no longer separate from the world you've been listening to. You are the world thinking, resting, remembering itself. The stars above the air, around the soil below, all turning in quiet unity. It is the same unity the weather has been teaching since the beginning. Motion and stillness, chaos and calm creation, and rest all part of one endless flow. And as your thoughts slow, as your breath steadies, you can feel it, the atmosphere's soft hand on your mind, the hush of equilibrium returning. The journey through storms, winds, and light ends here in peace. For this is the nature of the earth and of you, to move, to change, to rest, and to begin again. And now as the clouds dissolve and the wind lies still, the world rests once more in balance. The air cools, the night deepens, the rhythm of weather slows to a whisper. You can almost hear the earth breathe slow, patient, eternal, the same breath that moves through forests, oceans, and through you. Everything you've heard tonight, the rain, the snow, the wind, the quiet light, is part of one great motion, one endless cycle of creation and calm. In this stillness, may you find peace in knowing the world continues steady, gentle, alive, even as you close your eyes. If you enjoy journeys like this, feel free to stay a while. There are always more quiet wonders waiting in the skies, ready to help you rest, reflect, and dream among the stars.